update on what happened there. Welcome to the African History Network show. It is Tuesday, November 8th, 2021. We're broadcasting right here on 910 AM Superstation, the Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. We're also broadcasting on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network, and our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, Imhotep. So in the trial today, one of the glaring things that stood out, we're going to talk about this a little bit, is that the officer who arrived on the scene said that Travis McMichael did not say that they were trying to effectuate a citizen's arrest in the pursuit and killing of Ahmaud Arbery. They did not say that they were trying to effectuate or carry out a citizen's arrest. Now, this is something that we talked about on Sunday show. All right. And this is going to be this is striking a major blow to the defense's argument that they were trying to carry out a citizen's arrest. This is why they were chasing Ahmaud Arbery for 5 minutes. But when the police arrive, you don't say that you were trying to carry out a citizen's arrest. And this is something that the prosecution, Linda Dunikowski, the lead prosecutor, this is something that she brought up on Friday in opening statements. All right, so we'll talk about this. And today they had a brilliant African-American attorney, African-American female attorney, who's part of the prosecution as well. So she was questioning witnesses today also. All right, so we'll deal with that. And then we know Friday, I talked about this a little bit on Sunday's show. We know Friday, November 5th, late Friday night, we know that the $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill finally passed in the House of Representatives. Okay. So we talked about this a little bit on Sunday's show. We'll talk about it today. We'll talk about what's in the bill, but also, more importantly, we'll discuss the role the Congressional Black Caucus played in getting this bill passed. The Congressional Black Caucus was instrumental in getting the $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill passed. So we'll discuss that as well. And Representative Joyce Beatty, who is the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus, she was interviewed on MSNBC this weekend. I'm going to share that interview with you also, because it's very important. And then we have to look and see, okay, so what's next? Now, the next big bill is the $1.75 trillion human infrastructure bill. Okay, the Build Back Better bill. That's the next bill. Probably on tomorrow's show, we'll talk about what's actually in that bill, how it's going to positively impact African Americans. Politics is the legal distribution of scarce wealth, power, and resources, and the writing of laws, statutes, ordinances, amendments, and treaties, their adoption, interpretation, and enforcement. So politics impacts every aspect of our lives, from the water we drink to the air we breathe to the food we eat. And I hear a lot of people talking about reparations, but most of them can't tell you how to get reparations, can't tell you the process to go through to get reparations. And most of these arguments for reparations are not even legal arguments for reparations as well, which is part of the problem. I mean, you just have people confusing activity with productivity. Most of these arguments, not even legal arguments for reparations. So we've dealt with this here on this show before. We don't deal with a lot of this BS floating around that everybody wants to do because it's hot on social media. We don't do that. We deal with facts and evidence. 313-778-7600 is the calling number if you have a question or comment. Now, on the African History Network show, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent. Inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now it's corrects wrong behavior. What you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow other people to do to you and get away with is based upon what you think about yourself. What you think about yourself is based upon what you have been taught about yourself. What you've been taught about yourself is based upon everything you've read, heard, and seen about yourself. So when you control the radius of a man or woman's thoughts, you can control the circumference of his or her actions, because the mind can't do or teach what it doesn't know. Visit our web, sign up for our email newsletter. Text the word Kemet, Kemet, to 22828 to sign up for our email newsletter. Also visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. You can sign up for our email newsletter there as well. Okay, let's see. We're coming up here on a break. Let's go to. Let's look at this first piece here. I want to look at the article dealing with what took place in the trial today. So NBC News has a good article, and also there's a good one from CNN. I'm waiting on the New York Times to update their live updates dealing with the trial. Man accused in killing Ahmaud Arbery did not mention citizens' arrest at scene, former officer testifies. Man accused of killing Ahmaud Arbery did not mention citizens' arrest. When the first officer arrived on the scene. Okay, so if we look at this one here from NBC News. Asked by the prosecutor whether William Roddy Bryan ever told him he was trying to make a citizen's arrest of Ahmaud Arbery, the officer responded, "No, ma'am." All right. Now, the first police officer, so this is from November 8th, 2021. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So this comment, there's more than one way to push for reparations. Legal is a non-issue unless someone was doing something unlawful. Post what the legal post what the legal foundation of an argument for reparations is. The legal foundation is not we didn't get paid for slavery. That's not a legal foundation. If you want me to explain, elaborate, I'll explain it to you again. Now, the first police officer on the scene of Ahmaud Arbery's killing testified Monday that one of the three men on trial on charges of murder and other crimes never told him they were trying to make a citizen's arrest of Ahmaud Arbery, testimony that appeared to undercut a key element of the defense case. Now, this is what I said Sunday. Okay, this is what I said Sunday, and I said it Friday on Roland Martin Unfiltered as well. They when the police arrived, they didn't say that they were trying to make a citizen's arrest. Now, Ricky Minshew was a Glenn County, Georgia police officer, and he arrived on the scene. And he testified that when he arrived on the scene, he spoke with William Roddy Bryan, who told at the time Officer Minshew that he blocked, quote unquote, blocked, cornered, and cut off Ahmaud Arbery in Satilla Shores, a neighborhood just outside the port city of Brunswick. Okay, we'll deal with this on the other side of the break. Listen to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM Superstation Future Radio. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes. A legal argument is not the only way to push for reparations. Yeah, you can push however you want to. The difference now, pushing ain't the issue. Actually getting reparations. This is what people don't understand. These arguments are not legal arguments for reparations. When you go to lawmakers, you go to argue law. You don't go to argue morality. And what 99.9% of people are not talking about is how to structure a legal argument so it doesn't get overturned in the judicial branch of government, which are the courts, because the courts can strike down or uphold a bill or it wouldn't be an executive order because Article 1, Section 9, Clause 7 of the U.S. Constitution, Congress controls the power of the purse. It ain't so president can't do an executive order for reparations. That doesn't even exist. We don't understand that we don't understand. That's why a lot of this bullshit dealing with reparations I don't get involved in, because people are just running. A lot of people just running game on our people. And nobody wants to be honest and tell our people the way we're going about it. Dude, I mean, it takes 60 votes in the Senate to get a bill passed. Name me 10 Republicans in the Senate that are going to vote for reparations when no Republicans in the House of Representatives support reparations. HR 40 has 190 co-sponsors in the House of Representatives. All of them are Democrats. No Republicans in the House support reparations. You think you're going to get 10 Republicans in the Senate to vote for reparations? This is nonsense. Nobody wants to be honest enough because they're trying to hustle our people and elevate their social media platforms and raise money, all this type of stuff. They're trying to hustle our people with this nonsense. Nobody wants to be honest enough and tell our people the truth. No, that's not true. That means you haven't been watching the show. And the show what we dealt with last Monday, then with the Black Freedmen India Treaties of 1866, that's enforcing treaties, that's enforcing federal law, but dealing with the reason why the international transatlantic slave trade was abolished March 2nd, 1807, people aren't even dealing with that. That's why the 1841 U.S. Supreme Court case of the Ahmaud slave ship is critical in understanding legal arguments for reparations. People need to go read that court ruling, the U.S. Supreme Court ruling dealing with the Ahmaud slave ship of 1841. That's dealing with law.
That put us in this predicament. It's going to be laws and policies that take us out. So when you control the radius of a man or woman's thoughts, you can control the compass of his or her actions because the mind can't do or teach what it doesn't know. We have it all on 910 AM Superstation.
Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM Superstation, the Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Monday, November 8th, 2021, and we are live. Hope everybody's doing well. Follow us on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network, and our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, IMHOTEP. Turn on live notifications so you know when we go live. Calling numbers 313-778-7600, 313-778-7600 is the calling number if you have a question or comment. I'm going to post this article. We've dealt with this before because we deal with facts and evidence here. I don't deal with feelings and emotions. I interviewed for 4 hours. We did 2 shows. I interviewed Dr. Jahi Issa, historian, and Brother Reggie Marbury, dealing with legal arguments for reparations. And most of this BS floating around with reparations are not legal arguments. Okay. We've talked about this before. I've shown this article before. Everybody go read this. And then maybe we'll talk about it tomorrow. You call in if you have any questions tomorrow. Read this article. This is from August 8th, 2017. Reparations is dead. Authors seek to spark public discussion of new legal strategy. Reparations is dead. Authors seek to spark public discussion of new legal strategy. And I interviewed. All right, we're back. I'm calling in now. All right, we're back. All right, we're back. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, we're back. All right, so um a number of times before here on the show. And you can check this out. This is from this one here is, let me close some of this out. This is from Black Agenda Report. Um, it's not an endorsement of Black Agenda Report, but it's a good article. Reparations is dead. Authors seek to spark public discussion of new legal strategy. New legal strategy based upon law rooted in the U.S. Constitution, Article 1, Section 9, Clause 1. This is from August 8th, 2017. Dr. Jahi Issa, Brother Reggie Marbury, and Patrick Delasis. I interviewed Jahi Issa, Dr. Jahi, and Brother Reggie Marbury. I did 2 shows with them. We did a total of 4 hours going through and breaking this down and understanding law, understanding the U.S. Constitution, understanding that the U.S. Congress outlawed the international transatlantic slave trade March 2nd, 1807. It went into effect January 1st, 1808. So all the Africans brought into this country from January 1st, 1808 through July of 1860, when the Clotilda comes into Alabama, is illegal based upon federal law. There are court cases of white men who were caught engaged in human trafficking, bringing Africans into the country. After January 1st, 1808, they get prosecuted. The foundation of the 1841 U.S. Supreme Court case of the Amistad slave ship deals with this as well. This is one of the reasons why those Africans were set free. This is why they won their freedom in the U.S. Supreme Court. Okay, so we'll go read that article, because a lot of this stuff floating around, these are not even legal arguments. All right, back to the topic at hand. So Ricky Minshew, who was the first police officer on the scene, and go to archives.gov, by the way, and read about the Amistad slave ship. They got the original court documents there from the U.S. Supreme Court. Read what the U.S. Supreme Court ruled in the Amistad slave ship case of 1841. Many of us saw the movie Amistad, but don't know what we saw in the movie, because you see them go to the U.S. Supreme Court to win their freedom. But many of us don't know why they won their freedom in the U.S. Supreme Court. It was based upon law. All right. So the first officer on the scene of Ahmaud Arbery's killing testified Monday, November 8th, that one of the 3 white men on trial, on charges of murder and other crimes, never told them they were trying to make a citizen's arrest of Ahmaud Arbery. Never told him they were trying to make a citizen's arrest of Ahmaud Arbery. Testimony that appeared to undercut a key element of the defense's case. Now, Ricky Minshew, who was a Glenn County, Georgia police patrol officer when Ahmaud Arbery was killed February 23rd, 2020, testified that when he arrived on the scene, he spoke with William Roddy Bryan, who told Officer Ricky Minshew that he blocked, cornered, and cut off Ahmaud Arbery in Satilla Shores, a neighborhood just outside the port city of Brunswick. Now, William Bryan's neighbors, Gregory McMichael and Travis McMichael, who are also standing trial, armed themselves and used Travis McMichael's pickup truck to pursue Ahmaud Arbery after they spotted him running in their neighborhood. Now, William Bryan joined the chase and recorded cell phone video of Travis McMichael shooting Ahmaud Arbery in the street 3 times at close range. Now, William Roddy Bryan's defense attorney, if I remember correctly, his defense attorney released this video because they thought, months ago, they released the video because they thought the video was going to exonerate the three white men and show it was self-defense. Well, that video helped get them indicted. The three men were charged months later after the video leaked online. The video sparked national outrage. Ahmaud Arbery's killing has been likened to a modern-day lynching. Now, asked by prosecutor Larissa Oliveira whether William Bryan ever told him he was trying to make a citizen's arrest of Ahmaud Arbery as defense attorneys have claimed, Officer Ricky, then he was then an officer, he's not an officer anymore, Ricky Minshew responded, "No, ma'am." Okay, we'll go to the clip on the other side of the break because we're coming up on a break in 2 minutes here. Now, Ricky Minshew said William Bryan never mentioned that he joined the chase to try to arrest Ahmaud Arbery for loitering, burglary, attempted burglary, aggravated assault. She goes through, the prosecutor just goes, it's a sister. This is the first time we've seen her. This is day 2 of the trial, but this is the first time we've seen her. She went through and she named a number of things. They say that they were trying to arrest him for, do a citizen's arrest for loitering, burglary, attempted burglary, aggravated assault. Okay, nothing. They didn't say they were trying to make a citizen's arrest for anything. All right, which really poked holes into the defense's argument. Now, aggravated assault or any other crime that William Bryan never told him he saw Ahmaud Arbery with a weapon. Now, Ricky Minshew said William Bryan did not tell him he had ever told Ahmaud Arbery that he was, quote unquote, under arrest for anything as he pursued him. And this is something that I said Friday. When you the first day when they had opening statements on Friday, this is what Linda Dunikowski, the lead prosecutor, laid out. She said, "Wait a second, hold on. They never told Ahmaud that he was under arrest or citizen's arrest or anything like that." We'll discuss this on the other side of the break. Listen to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM Superstation Future Radio. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, in the mix radio, you need to go do more research before you post here. That's false. Stand by, everybody. They have some of the dumbest people on YouTube who come on here with no facts whatsoever. All right, stand by. HBCUs actually got $4.7 billion this year. Where you get only 20 HBCUs got money from Biden, you need to go do more research. That's blatantly false. All right, stand by. All right, back from break in 4 minutes. Stand by. Okay, this should still be broadcasting. Okay, we'll go to that clip there. Everybody share this broadcast on social media platforms. Invite your friends to tune in.
Nine 10, The Superstation, Detroit's only African-American talk radio.
Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM Superstation, the Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Monday, November 8th, 2021, and we are live. All right, calling number is 313-778-7600. It's a calling number if you have a question or comment, 313-778-7600. Okay, so right before the break, we were doing an update on what's going on in the McMichael's Bryan trial, in the killing of Ahmaud Arbery. And we were looking at this piece here from NBC News about testimony today. We're going to go to clip one, Shakita, about testimony today. Then Officer Ricky Minshew testified that when he arrived on the scene, William Bryan never mentioned that he joined the chase to try to arrest Ahmaud Arbery for loitering, burglary, attempted burglary, aggravated assault, or any other crime, and that William Bryan never told him he saw Ahmaud Arbery with a weapon either. Now, Ricky Minshew said Bryan did not tell him he had ever told Ahmaud Arbery that he was under arrest for anything as he pursued him. Ricky Minshew, who was a Glenn County police officer at the time, said William Bryan told him at one point, "Should I have been chasing him? I don't know." Okay. Ricky Minshew said that William Bryan told him at one point, quote, "Should I have been chasing him?" Asking the question, "I don't know," end quote. I think he has probably figured it out since then. Attorneys for the McMichaels have said Travis McMichael acted in self-defense when Ahmaud Arbery threw punches and tried to grab his gun. Well, that's after they were chasing him for 5 minutes and he was cornered, and Travis McMichael had a 12-gauge shotgun. So then he's defending himself because he's unarmed and he's cornered. Before that, he was just running for his life. They chased him for 5 minutes. I want to go to this clip here. This is from, okay, we'll go to, let's go to clip. This is clip one. This is from the Black News Channel from Monday, November 8th. Start your day. Now, this is my girl, Candace Kelly, legal analyst Candace Kelly. And she's talking about day one of the trial and dealing with opening statements. Okay, so this is from this morning. Let's go to clip one, Shakita.
Testimony is on later this morning in the trial of the men charged with murdering Ahmaud Arbery. Last week, the prosecution played video, heartbreaking, gut-wrenching video, the moment Arbery was shot and killed last year while jogging near Brunswick, Georgia. Prosecution's first witness, a police officer who responded to the scene, said, quote, "There was nothing I could do for him." Joining us right now, Justice Correspondent Candace Kelly. Good morning to you, Candace. It was difficult for us just watching parts of this trial. for the mother inside that courtroom, just as I said, gut-wrenching. Don't want to imagine it, can't imagine her pain and her grief all these days later. During opening arguments, so the prosecution said this is a case about assumptions. How do you think that played out to the jury? Assumptions.
You know, I think that it played out very well, Sharon. Why? Because you have this compelling video of Ahmaud Arbery, who was on the ground with no weapons. There's no indication by anybody from the opening argument from the defense or the prosecution that they saw anything being stolen, that they just assumed so much in getting in their cars and driving, supported by this, you know, citizens arrest law, and then ended up killing him. I don't think it played out well because the evidence didn't show that. And in the opening argument, you are to explain, here's the evidence that we see, and here's the evidence that we support our facts, and I don't think that lined up very well, Sharon.
All right, so Candace, talk about this because you mentioned the citizens arrest law, which they've taken on the book, but the defense team, they painted a picture of three men who actually, he said, were carrying out a duty and responsibility. When it comes to the citizens arrest law, from what you saw on the tape with them actually following him, confronting him, trapping him several times, and then getting out with loaded weapons, does that follow the law of the land when it comes to the citizens arrest law?
Listen, with the citizens arrest law, Mike, you have to have seen something afoot or something in action or had a really strong indication that somebody had committed some crime, right? That you were in the middle of something that you were going to stop. Here, again, we just don't have it. During the opening arguments, I thought, wow, kind of a waste of time. You can't initiate a provocation and then claim self-defense. That's just the rule of law. You can't initiate it and then self-defense. So it just really is unworkable all around. No matter how the defense plays it up, it is not going to stick. If these jurors, which they're expected to do, and they probably will do, follow the letter of the law, this will not make sense, and the self-defense portion will not work. And even the citizens arrest law, it has more of a chance of working, but that self-defense will fall flat on its face, Mike.
So let's talk about the first witness, Officer William Duggan, if we can, Candace. I want you to talk about what we learned from him. He shows up on the scene. He's encountered by one of the defendants, and I believe he asked him, "Are you okay?" And he got a response to that. But what else did we learn from him?
Well, you know, what we learned from him is that when he came on the scene, we were able to see his video cam, and this is the first time that we saw that. This was actually video cam that the defense did not want admitted into evidence. The judge overruled that particular motion and that request, but we were able to see just this up-close, personal, bloody Ahmaud Arbery on the ground. And as you mentioned, Wanda Cooper, this was the first time that she even saw this portion of Ahmaud Arbery. She never saw the killing to the end. She just could not bring herself to do that. But with this particular officer, what we saw was, again, a support for the prosecution, that we have this person who was on the ground, no weapons in sight, nothing that was stolen. So we just have more support that, you know, that there was no reason for this to happen. The other thing is that we see somebody that is on the ground potentially in need of help, and that's going to come up with the prosecution. Did this officer do what he was supposed to do in order to maybe check on his pulse a little quicker? Did he render aid in the way that he should have? How did he know that Ahmaud Arbery was dead? And today we're going to hear more from this witness, and we're going to hear more about that. How was he able to see the blood and declare he's dead? Why didn't he do anything else? That is his fiduciary responsibility. That is something that the prosecution is going to hone in on.
Yeah, he said something like, "There's nothing else I can do for this man." I believe that's what he was saying. And he actually asked one of the defendants if they were all right. And I think McMichael was the one that said something like, "I just effing killed a man."
Right. And he said, "No, I'm not all right."
Yeah. But you mentioned the pain that Wanda Cooper has to go through, obviously having to see her son dying on the street, literally dying on the street. We've seen the video numerous times of them chasing him through that neighborhood. We've seen the gunshot. We have not, and a lot of us, if you haven't been watching the case, we have not seen the footage from the officer, like Officer Duggan there. What kind of impact do you think that had on the jury? Because that's the first time I'm pretty sure that they've actually seen that footage as well.
That's right. You know, any of us, right? And in terms of just the impact, we had Wanda Cooper, who certainly was crying throughout the rolling out of this video. But then we also had a juror who is reported by a lot of notes that she put something up to still the state so that she could not see the video. Obviously, a huge impact on the mother, on the jurors who thought that this was just too much. I mean, just a bloody body in the middle of the road for really no reason. No reason so far, no compelling reason. And that's just upsetting. And there was a warning that was given by the judge, you know, in terms of outbursts that he didn't want to happen. And if you felt that you couldn't see the video, please step out. It was just something I think that people couldn't have imagined because, as you said, these were jurors. It was their first time, so you had that shock, and you could see it by the way that the jurors responded.
Candace, we got to go, just a few seconds left, but one thing we didn't talk about was any potential reaction. And I understand you would tell us what you told us before as a defense attorney, that you would tell your clients not to. But do we know anything about the response during the playing of that horrific footage from these three accused?
You know, there were a couple times I saw where the especially the father, Gregory McMichael, just looked away. He's done a lot of that, kind of looking down, not really looking at what was going on, kind of just very sheepish and really embarrassed, because I think he is about what he did, because I think that he even thinks this doesn't make sense and that he's going to have a whole hard road to go down in terms of winning this particular battle or case.
Let's see if that road actually leads them to a jail cell. We'll see if they get justice in this case. Of course, day 2 of testimony coming up a little bit later on today. But stick around, Candace. We actually want to get your
okay. Pause it right there. Pause it right there,
outcome.
Shakita. Pause it right there. All right. Pause it right there, Shakita. Okay, pause it right there. Okay, thank you. All right. That was from Start Your Day, the Black News Channel. You heard Candace Kelly giving her legal analysis. We're sometimes panelists, co-panelists on Roland Martin Unfiltered when I'm on Fridays. We'll continue this on the other side of the break because I want to go to this other clip here, and then we're going to talk about the $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill, what's in it. We'll have more updates tomorrow in the trial. This is just day 2 because it took a little more than 3 weeks for the jury selection. Now, getting back to the topic about reparations, the article I just showed you is a rebuttal. Is a second article to this one. This is the first article here, okay? And this was the main one I was looking for. This is by Dr. Jahi Issa and Reggie Mabry as well. Well, reparations is dead. How to resurrect it. This is from July 12, 2017. Black Agenda Report, and they talk about 1808 when the international transatlantic slave trade was abolished, and that's rooted in Article 1, Section 9, Clause 1 of the U.S. Constitution, and the 20-year clause in the Constitution that stated the earliest the international transatlantic slave trade could be abolished would be 1808. That was decided at the Philadelphia Convention in 1787 when they were debating the Constitution. So read this article as well, and then read the second one also. All right, you listen to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM the Superstation. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes. Stand by. Back from break in 4 minutes. Stand by. How's everybody doing? Share this broadcast on social media platforms. Invite your friends to tune in as well. When we talk about legal arguments, like real, like legal arguments for reparations, is entirely different than this BS floating around right now. Stand by, back from break in 4 minutes. See, we'll talk about the infrastructure bill. Oh, we got to go to this clip here. Stand by, everybody. Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM Superstation and Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. All right. So we were given an update in the McMichael Bryan trial in the killing of Ahmaud Arbery. Read this article also from today from CNN. First responding officer says defendant described how he joined the chase of Ahmaud Arbery. First responding officer, that was Officer Minshew. First responding officer says defendant described how he joined the chase of Ahmaud Arbery. This is from CNN.com. Now, Shakita, I just sent you a clip here from CBS News. I want to go to that clip. Let's see. This clip here that I'm about to play. This is from body camera footage of one of the officers on the scene. I'm not sure which officer it was, but this article, and I've shared this here on the show before. This article is from December 16th, 2020. December 16th, 2020, CBS News. Here's what happened. We know that the video of Ahmaud being killed was released. It went viral. Okay, because he was killed in February, right? Of 2020. And then things started getting hot. So William Roddy Bryan holds a press conference at his house. He's sitting on the couch next to his wife, and he says he was just a bystander, right? After he does the press conference, and I'm not sure how soon after he does the press conference, but after he does the press conference, right, then body camera footage of one of the officers that responds to the killing is on the scene, and he's talking to William Roddy Bryan. What Bryan tells the officer is different than him just being a bystander. This article is from CBS News. This is from December 16th, 2020. Let's go to this clip, Shakita.
The killing of Ahmaud Arbery. He is the 25-year-old black man who was gunned down in February while his family says he was out jogging. The new video cast doubt on one suspect's version of what exactly happened. Here's CBS's Omar Villafranca.
This police body cam video taken just moments after Ahmaud Arbery was killed shows investigators standing near the young man's body. In the video, obtained by our Jacksonville station WJAX, officers are seen talking to William Roddy Bryan at the crime scene.
Was there a passerby coming through? No, not necessarily.
Bryan recorded the deadly February 23rd confrontation on his cell phone. His video shows Arbery running through a Brunswick, Georgia neighborhood with Greg and Travis McMichael chasing him in their truck. It ends with Arbery shot and killed by Travis McMichael. The video was leaked in May, months after the killing, and immediately sparked national outrage. The McMichaels were arrested and charged with murder, and Arbery's family also wanted Bryan behind bars.
I had nothing to do with it.
Before his arrest, Bryan maintained his innocence, saying he had nothing to do with the confrontation and killing of Arbery. But the new body cam video reveals a different story.
I pulled out of my driveway. Was going to try to block him. He was going all around it, and I made a few moves at him, and he stopped.
Bryan was eventually arrested and charged with murder. All three men have pleaded not guilty and were denied bail.
I just spoke with Bryan's attorney, Kevin Goff, who still maintains that his client was nothing more than a witness to the shooting. In a statement, Ahmaud Arbery's mother, Wanda Cooper Jones, says she wants all the suspects held fully accountable by the law. No trial date has been set. Nora?
Omar Villafranca, thank you.
Okay, so we've dealt with that. You can stop the clip. Thanks. So that's from December 2020 when that body cam video was released. All right. In that video, now I don't know how long the video was, in the video, and CBS News reported this. In the video, Brian didn't say we were trying to effectuate a citizen's arrest. That's not what he said. Okay. And then he was asked, okay, were you just a bystander or something? He said, no, not exactly. And then he goes and talks about his participation. All right. So read that one. That's from CBS News. New video appears to contradict suspect's account in Ahmaud Arbery killing. All right, very quickly, we run out of time here. I want to switch gears. We're going to go to clip 3, Shakita. Is that clip 3? Clip 3 from the Congressional Black Caucus. No, clip 4. We're going to go to clip 4. And we'll talk about this some more tomorrow. So we know that the $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill passed late Friday. And the Congressional Black Caucus was instrumental in getting this bill passed. Representative Joyce Beatty was on the Sunday show with Jonathan Capehart this past Sunday. Let's go to clip 4.
I'm not surprised when I learned of the role that the CBC played. And I just want to read something from the TikTok that was written about this in the New York Times about the plan that the CBC proposed. That the black lawmakers proposed a plan that initially seemed far too timid and convoluted. Pass the infrastructure bill immediately, then hold a good faith procedural vote on the larger bill that would have to suffice before its final vote in November. And I clung to this phrasing, too timid and convoluted. But to my mind, it sounded extremely pragmatic on the part of black elected officials to get stuff moving. How did this idea come about?
Well, we have a strong Congressional Black Caucus. We have 6 members of the Congressional Black Caucus who make up major chairmanships on the committees. We also have our Democratic caucus chair, Hakeem Jeffries, and of course, the most powerful black man in Congress, our Majority Whip, Jim Clyburn. Jim Clyburn and I talk all the time, whether it's with just the two of us or the White House lead administrative team or the president. So that day he said, we need to talk. I have been pushing for an idea. Let's talk about it. And we formulated because all along we wanted both bills to pass. We understand the value of this to Americans, and especially black Americans, when you talk about jobs and broadband and lead out of the water for children. And so we thought it was important to work with everyone. Look, we're all colleagues, whether you're a moderate, whether you're progressive, whether you're a member of the Congressional Black Caucus. So this was an effort of putting all our diverse caucuses together and us taking a leadership role to talk about what would be palatable and make sense for everyone to pass the bill. But also it was important to have the trust and say we would vote on the rule to allow the Build Back Better to.
All right. We're out of time here on 9:10 a.m. Superstation WFDF. Those watching on Facebook and YouTube, keep watching. We're going to keep going for a few more minutes. We'll discuss this some more on tomorrow's show. Visit, and if you like this type of information, also you can support the African History Network. $ the AHN show through Cash App. $ the AHN show through Cash App, and through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN show. Remember, right now it's correct. Wrong behavior is not over till we win. Wakanda forever. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Peace. All right, stand by. Disconnect this call. Stand by. We're going to continue with this clip here. Let me cue this up. This is a very, very important interview. Read this article here, a couple of articles. One, read this one here from New York Times. This is either late Friday or early Saturday. What day this is? November 5th, updated November 8th, November 5th, 2021. It was late Friday because it was late Friday when the bill passed. House passes $1 trillion infrastructure bill, putting social policy bill on hold. Well, actually, they passed the $1.75 trillion Build Back Better human infrastructure bill. It passed a procedural hurdle after they passed this one. Okay, so it's expected that the 1.75 human infrastructure bill is expected somewhere around November 15th, somewhere before Thanksgiving. It'll pass both the House and the Senate. Okay, so read this one. And then also there was this one here from where is that one? There was one from the one from the Griot is incorrect. I need to send them a message. The one from the Griot, I was looking at it. Yahoo News picked it up. They said the wrong damn bill passed. I don't know how they made that mistake, but okay. So I ain't even gonna show that one. This is wrong. And I looked at it. I'm gonna look at it again right quick. I looked at it from Yahoo News, and they said the 1.75 trillion infrastructure bill passed on Friday. No, it didn't. God damn. You can't do stuff like that. Let's look at this here. Read this one here from blackamericaweb.com also. The Congressional Black Caucus helps Biden pass the infrastructure bill. Read this one from Black America Web as well. Okay. And okay, so read that one. All right, I want to go. I need to pull this one up here. Because we're only on 9:10 a.m. for 1 hour, Monday through Friday. So after that, I got to do all this myself. Let me cue this one up here. Where is that one? That's clip number 4. Infrastructure. Okay. Where's Beatty? We'll continue this discussion tomorrow. Also tomorrow, we'll deal with the Alabama State Constitution in 1901 that codified white supremacy in the state of Alabama, instituted poll taxes and literacy tests. I was going to talk about that today, but we're out of time, and I don't have time. I have a lot of work to do. Let's go back to this clip here.
And not surprised when I learned of the role that the CBC played. I was surprised, but then not surprised when I learned of the role that the CBC played. And I just want to read something from the TikTok that was written about this in the New York Times about the plan that the CBC proposed. It says the black lawmakers proposed a plan that initially seemed far too timid and convoluted. Pass the infrastructure bill immediately, then hold a good faith procedural vote on the larger bill that would have to suffice before its final vote in November. And I clung to this phrasing, too timid and convoluted. But to my mind, it sounded extremely pragmatic on the part of black elected officials to get stuff moving. How did this idea come about?
Well, we have a strong Congressional Black Caucus. We have 6 members of the Congressional Black Caucus who make up major chairmanships on the committees. We also have our Democratic caucus chair, Hakeem Jeffries, and of course, the most powerful black man in Congress, our Majority Whip, Jim Clyburn. Jim Clyburn and I talk all the time, whether it's with just the two of us or the White House lead administrative team or the president. So that day he said, we need to talk. I have been pushing for an idea. Let's talk about it. And we formulated because all along we wanted both bills to pass. We understand the value of BIF to Americans, and especially Black Americans, when you talk about jobs and broadband and lead out of the water for children. And so we thought it was important to work with everyone. Look, we're all colleagues, whether you're a moderate, whether you're progressive, whether you're a member of the Congressional Black Caucus or Tri-Caucus. So this was an effort of putting all our diverse caucuses together and us taking a leadership role to talk about what would be palatable and make sense for everyone to pass the BIF. But also it was important to have the trust and say we would vote on the rule to allow the Build Back Better to come to a vote. So our role was, let's get the rule passed. Let's also get the BIF passed. And we saw some combination of that. But a lot of work went into this with all of the members. But yes, we took a major leadership role. We sat down with the speaker for hours, as other caucuses did. But it was important for us. We represent 17 million Black Americans and 80 Americans. And we wanted America to know that the oldest and larger member caucus in the Congress was not just sitting back idle.
You know, you used a word that we heard a lot last week, and I'm sure we're going to hear a lot going forward as the Build Back Better Act continues to be debated and negotiated, and that is the word trust. Is trust truly there to get a deal done and passed out of the Senate and out of the House and onto the president's desk for his signature?
Well, I can tell you, speaking as the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus and for majority of the members, we have to have trust. It's like looking at a glass. Is the glass half empty or half full? I always look at it as half full, and we just have to fill it up. And so I think this was an amazing start. When you look at the number of members of our caucus and the Congress who voted in favor of the bipartisan infrastructure, and for those who didn't, I understand that they have differences, and that's okay. They are all a part of our big tent with the Congressional Black Caucus. I am very comfortable that we will pass the Build Back Better. There's no one who could be against transformational legislation that's going to provide $400,000 for pre-K for children. When you think about taking children almost 40% out of poverty, when you think about that we're going to be able to give funds to many of our Americans with the child tax credit, when you think about some 35 million families will receive that, and we talk about climate change, $555 billion. HBCUs receiving more money than ever, Pell Grants, and housing cuts across the universe. And we know that a member of the Congressional Black Caucus, Congresswoman Maxine Waters, has been very instrumental in guiding the entire caucus and certainly the Congressional Black Caucus with that, as well as many of our other members. When we talk about education and labor, Congressman Bobby Scott, out in the front, fighting for HBCUs, Pell Grants, and so much more. I could say something about every one of our chairs, and all of our members have been involved with this. And that's why it was important for us to be in the forefront, because we have our fingerprints and footprints in every piece of this legislation.
And you provided the idea that got the folks from battling each other to actually coming up with a plan that got the bipartisan infrastructure bill voted on by the House, and a signing ceremony will be held at some point at the White House. So that bill becomes law. Congresswoman Joyce Beatty, chair of the Congressional.
Let me just say this.
Real fast, because we're already out of time.
Several caucuses, and everybody was fully engaged. Thank you.
All right. So that's from the Sunday show. Jonathan Capehart speaking with Congressional Black Caucus Chair Joyce Beatty. Read this piece here. We talked about this before. Read this from the Washington Post. What's in the $1.2 trillion infrastructure package? It goes through and breaks it down. We'll talk about this some more tomorrow. What's in the $1.2 trillion infrastructure package? This is from November 5th, 2021. And they go through $550 billion in new investments. Almost half of the $1.2 trillion package is going toward new investments in transportation, utilities, and pollution, because most of the expressways were built during the 1950s, 60s, things like this, and they're crumbling all across the U.S. They're crumbling. The infrastructure has to be fixed. Transportation, $284 billion. Roads and bridges, $110 billion. Power infrastructure, $65 billion. Broadband, $65 billion, especially in rural America. 25% of African Americans live in rural America. Railroads, $66 billion. Water infrastructure, $55 billion, which is huge, like Flint, Michigan, like Benton Harbor, Michigan. Okay, there were 3,000 communities that had higher lead levels, had higher lead levels than Flint, Michigan. There was a study that came out after what was going on in Flint, Michigan was exposed. So it was so $55 billion for water infrastructure, $25 billion for airports, $17 billion for ports, $15 billion for electric vehicles. Okay, and they go through and they break each category down. 550 billion. Let's see, investments. So you can read through the rest of this here. They go through and break this down. Many construction jobs do not require college degrees, though they do require some special skills. Mark Zandi, chief economist at Moody's Analytics, estimates growth of about 660,000 jobs could result by 2025. Interestingly, construction has been one of the few industries with slow job growth in recent months. The bill includes funding and provisions to get more job training programs going and to get more women into the construction and trucking industries. There's a huge lack of people to drive the trucks, to drive semi-trucks for deliveries. There's a huge lack of people that if you want to go into trucking, this is the time to do it. They're begging people to become truck drivers. Roads and bridges, $110 billion. Railroads, $66 billion. The U.S. passenger rail system, a favorite of Biden's, receives a large chunk of funding for upgrades and maintenance. Okay, there is substantial funding earmarked for the Northeast Corridor. Okay, read the rest of that. Power grid, $65 billion. The plan has substantial funding for grid reliability and resiliency, a fancy way of saying updates to older power lines and cables, and investments in ways to ensure the power grid is not hacked. As part of the bill's efforts to address climate change, the power grid section also has funding to support the development and adaptation of clean energy technology. So now we're dealing with the environment. Broadband, $65 billion, which is critical. Okay, everybody doesn't have broadband. Everybody's not wired for broadband internet. Water, especially pipes, $55 billion. Okay, we talked about that. And there's also $10 billion clean. Okay, and they mentioned Flint, Michigan. All right, so read the rest of this here. Public transit, $39 billion. Public transit has to be upgraded. Senators at the White House have been citing a transportation department estimate that 40% of buses and 23% of subway and rail cars are in poor shape. The funding would go a long way toward upgrades. There's also money for new bus routes and making public transit more accessible to seniors and Americans with disabilities. Okay, airports, $25 billion. Remediation, $21 billion. This part of the bill includes funds to clean up brownfield and Superfund sites, abandoned mines, and old oil and gas wells that need to be plugged. Safety, $11 billion. The bulk of the funding in this section is for highway safety, but there is also funding for pedestrian safety, pipeline safety, and even ways to prevent vehicle incidents involving animals. Western water infrastructure, $8 billion. Electric vehicle charging stations, $7.5 billion. The United States has about 43,000 charging stations. Biden has set a goal of having half of new cars electric by 2030, which will require significantly more charging stations across the nation. Okay, so you're dealing with electric cars, electric school buses, 7.5 billion. The bill makes a major push to replace existing school buses with zero emissions buses. So you're dealing with the environment and tackling climate change. Specific funding is set aside to help lower income, rural, and tribal communities replace their bus fleets. So read the rest of this here. We'll talk about this some more tomorrow. Okay, this is from the Washington Post. What's in the $1.2 trillion infrastructure package? All right. In these other topics, we'll talk about Alabama State Constitution on tomorrow's show. Okay, visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. We have the Kwanzaa shop at our website. Kwanzaa is coming up, Baragani. The 7 principles of Kwanzaa, the Nguzo Saba. You can get your kanaras, you get your candle holders, your mats, flags, and more at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. This is courtesy of the Kwanzaa shop. Click right here, or you can go directly to thekwanzaashop.com, thekwanzaashop.com. Click right here, it takes you to the Kwanzaa shop. The early bird discount code, add the early bird discount code for $10 off before November 28th, 2021. Okay, so all of the supplies that you need Kwanzaa this year, you can get from the KwanzaaShop.com, and it's right at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. It's courtesy of Sister Nubia Wartford, who you hear me interview and have her on this show. She's an archaeologist, and she goes to the Sudan and does archaeological digs. You can register for my online courses from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power. We do those on Saturdays, 12 noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school, ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa. We do that on Sundays, 12 noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We do the sessions live. All the sessions are recorded and archived. You can go back and watch them anytime. And they're on sale, $70 from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, and $80 for understanding the transatlantic slave trade. Even after the 10-week online course is over with, you can go back and watch the classes anytime, okay? And if you like this type of information, you can support the African History Network, $, the AHN Show through Cash App, $, the AHN Show through Cash App, also through PayPal, paypal.me / the AHN Show, paypal.me / the AHN Show. All right, and this is our official Cash App account, $, the AHN Show through Cash App. And when you go to it, it says Michael and shows my picture there also. All right. Okay, look, we have to get out of here. Remember, at the African History Network, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world. Because right now, it's correct wrong behavior is not over till we win. Wakanda forever. We'll talk